Hey everyone, it's your favorite interdependent man here. And yeah, today that's what I want to talk about. I want to offer up a critique of, I guess, specifically the American conception of independence. Independence in quotes, of course. Um And yeah, I mean, it's something that's prevalent throughout all of American culture. One of my favorite examples of it, in terms of media, is like, for example, the Western expansion myth as sort of typified in the Western movie of a singular man going out to the frontiers of the Western United States and taking on the world, right? Blondie from the Dollars trilogy, man, Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, all those people. Um and you know, I, as much as the next American or the next guy, because they were popular internationally, enjoy those movies for what they are, which is mythology, guys. Yes, mythology, because of course, what these movies don't talk about is the breathtaking lensing of the indigenous population that um occurred during westward expansion, as well as, bro, they weren't going out alone doing this. The government handed out money so that Europeans could make homesteads, bro. I don't know about you, and while I do know they did a lot of foraging and stuff like that, of course they did, right? We've all played the Oregon Trail, but but yeah, bro, that doesn't sound like picking yourself up by your bootstraps to me. That sounds like a government handout. Um. Anyway, yeah, it's a myth, but it speaks to the greater culture of the United States, which you know sort of doesn't think community or interdependence or relying on one another should be a thing. In fact, it says that's victim mentality. When no, it's not, because the most successful societies are ones built on reciprocity. In other words, we need to have empathy and understanding for the fact that no, we can't do it alone. We can only do it together, you know? Um and that's not to say that I don't think you should be responsible for some things individually, of course, man. Like, for example, financial literacy. Um, no one's gonna tell you, or no one's forcing you if you're an adult to say, like, okay, yeah, don't buy this these long acrylic nails or this hair care or this $120 um collector's edition of a video game. Don't ask me why that's so hyper specific. Right? You're gonna learn, you're gonna need to learn proper financial fiscal responsibility on your own, right? Even if we have uh classes on financial responsibility in schools, which I do think we should have more of. Um, no one's sitting there with a you know what to your head saying that you have to be responsible. Same thing with food and dieting, right? Like, only you can control what and how much of the things you eat. No one is gonna tell you not to eat that quarter pounder, Brian and Sarah. um, Only you can stop yourself from doing that or doing that. So, like, I'm not against individualism necessarily. When I talk about it, I mean more of the bigger things like Medicare for all, like paid maternity and paternity leave, um you know more labor rights, more unions. I mean, I think we can all agree that that stuff is good unless you're a simp to corporations, and we can only do that with the spirit of interdependence. We need to really get rid of this idea that everything can be done by your bootstraps, because it can. And I know that's unpopular to a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be mad at me, call me a victim, whatever. I'm not saying I'm a victim. In fact, I'm not a victim because I know I can't do it alone. That doesn't mean I don't put in my best effort. That means that, you know, I know that Tommy or Timmy down the street is a better accountant than I am. I ask for his help. There's nothing wrong with that. And I recently talked about the Black Panthers on this channel, and that's one of the things that I think made their organization extremely great. That they set up so many links, not only with the disabled community, like I mentioned, but Hispanics, um, the Chinese and other Asians, and they were just very good at building bridges like that. And American society today, from the left to the right, doesn't want to do that. Although I acknowledge that typically the right is better at uniting than the left in the United States. I think, after certain events in Charlottesville in 2017, we all sort of realized that there have been some things like the March for Women or whatever and so, but not really that much else, to be honest with you. And this is the heart of the problem, because even people that are left leaning still have this sort of pernicious, like, oh, it's about me, it's about my individual rights, and they don't really care for community. The United States does not care about community. And before you people say, oh, but the 50s and the 60s and stuff like that, and I agree. I agree that that was a better time for community, but only if you were in the majority. Because if you were a minority, you could pretty much forget about that. Although there are examples, of course. I'm not saying there aren't, but yeah. Um. Anyway, we gotta move past independence and move towards interdependence. And the way we do that is we're gonna need to understand that, yes, sometimes we're gonna have to sacrifice what we want for the greater good. And number two, um, you're not always gonna get what you want. And it's not always about you or me. It's about all of us sometimes. Um, Especially in the disabled community. We can't be shaming people for um you know having SSI or supposedly taking charity, bro. Come on now. How is that productive? Um you can have a respect for people like Ed Roberts and Judy Human, um, and what they did for us while still wanting to move beyond their notions of a very ignorant form of independence, a strictly American one that doesn't take into account how people in other places of the world feel about that term. Uh, okay, thank you very much for listening.